Welcome back to The Vocalist. Today we are listening to Tenacious D and their cover of the song Wicked Game. We're watching a live performance because I saw the thumbnail for the video that's posted to their channel and I think I would have a really hard time focusing on music and technique if I'm watching them frolic joyfully in the ocean. So we're starting here, and yes, after I've seen this performance, I'll go back on my own to watch the other video, but here we go.
What a wicked game to play, to let me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. What a wicked thing to make me dream of you. And I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. Nobody loves no one.
No, oh my gosh, I should have looked at how short this is. That's okay, there's so much to say. So we're going back. That intro, that is so beautiful. This, well, let's just get into it. Here we go. That I love how beautifully he's playing, so that he's dynamics. Who'da thunk, right? They do such wonders. And so you can hear that sort of the pulsing underneath that he's creating with, softer dynamics. And then he's pulling out the main theme that he wants us to hear. And I just think it's done so beautifully. And again, I don't play guitar, but it sounds so stunning, and it's skill. Like, it takes skill to achieve that kind of contrast in dynamics on one instrument and creating almost sort of like this. It's like there's two different parts that he's playing, and I love it. I think it's beautiful.
What a wicked game to play, to let me feel this way.
In addition, when we're talking about dynamics, as soon as Jack Black starts singing, the instrumental is much lower. So I love that as well. We're going to talk a lot about vocals in this one because I feel that Jack Black in his acting does something so beautiful in that he really takes advantage of so many different sounds that he is capable of creating. And many of us are capable of all of these different sounds. It's just we don't do them. If you are maybe a more reserved personality or a quieter person, you have no need to create super loud noises or test the extremes, whether it is dynamics or if it's your resonators, how nasal you are, how much open pharyngeal space you have. There's just, how much oral cavity space you take advantage of. There's just all these different variables that we don't tap into very often, especially if we are just talking from day to day and we don't need to create these different characters or personas or we just don't need that kind of variety in our speech. But because I think his personality, from what I've seen on screen, on interviews, he seems like someone who enjoys that part of acting. It's not just because it's his job, it's because he likes to explore these different sounds. And so he has access to a lot, and he applies that to his singing. So right off the bat, we get this gorgeous, textured, rich, deep sound. So here, let me just go back to the beginning of the vocals.
What a wicked game to play, to let me feel this way.
Already, what a wicked game we play. And then when he says to, we get a little bit more closure on the chords. So we get a little added clarity, whereas before there was some breathiness coming through and a bit of a, I don't know if I would call it a fry, but it definitely had some grit to it. We'll go back again to the beginning of the vocals. I want you to hear the difference between those two.
What a wicked game to play, to let me feel this way.
Now, this is a gorgeous example. I talk a lot about air pressure and muscle tension, and those are really the two biggest variables in creating sound. So in this case, at least to my ears right now, I feel like his air pressure has stayed the same, but what he changed was the adduction, how firmly he's bringing his chords together, or in this case, allowing a little bit of separation at first and then bringing them together. So we're getting more presence in the sound, but the same level of air pressure.
What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you.
Now that time, we didn't get that added closure. It was still a little raspy, a little gritty, so he was still allowing some air to come through.
What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way.
Again, with the variety, you're almost hearing these different voices because of how he's changing his onset and his air pressure. So, beginning of this one, full adduction, nice, very present, clear sound. On top of that, because it's higher, you have choices, again, with what resonators you involve in making sound. And so we get a lot more twang. We get, however you want to, define it. I would say we're getting more head resonance. We're getting more nasal resonance. We're getting just this added brightness, almost like a more forward placement at the beginning of this phrase, and then he changes it again. Let's see if I can find that.
To let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way.
So then, again, he's still in that same place in his voice in terms of registration or range, but backed off to my ears, both air pressure and that closure, so that it feels lighter, what we would probably classify more closely to a head dominant mixed voice.
What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you, and I don't wanna fall in love.
That was beautiful. beautiful. So he flipped over into head voice or a falsetto, and as he came back down, he still allowed that airiness, that breathiness, that lightness to be incorporated into his sound. We still get a little bit of grit at the end of that phrase, but it was just such a seamless transition moving back into more of a chest dominant mix. Sorry, let me play that again.
Dream of you, and I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. Nobody loves no one.
I also love, actually, let's go back. It's short enough. Let me see if I can find it.
No, I don't wanna fall in love with you.
That I feel is a beautiful example of, again, allowing a little separation. You know, we don't have full adduction, but we have a lot of air pressure. So we get this intensity, but in this sort of whispery voice. And it's just, there's so much variety, so much variety. We'll listen to the end.
Nobody loves no one.
I love so many things about this duo. Firstly, the fact that they are still together, they're still creating together after all these years, makes me so happy. Individually, both of these men are brilliant and incredibly talented. I love their original stuff, but it's really cool to hear their take on other songs and to make it their own. And even if it was super short, I think that's it for today. I am now going to go and watch them run around in the ocean for 2 minutes, and I hope you will do the same. Thank you so much for watching with me, and hopefully I will see you next time.